Which one's sick?
My middle one.
But so I go to drop off my little one, right? And I'm late because I had to leave this right? So I go to the gate. You got to call them to have them unlock the gate. I go, I sign her in. You would think they'd send somebody.
Here. Yeah, bring Father Kelly up. Before we get started with the meeting, we in Coral Springs last week had a very difficult time. One of our firefighters passed away. And during the ceremony, there was a message that I'd like to read again before we get started with this meeting, because I think it has a great impact upon all of us. And the message was from a young man by the name of Giovanni Di Bernardino. And it was written in the 1200s. And it goes as follows. Make me an instrument of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. Where there is sadness, joy. Grant that I may not so much seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. For it is in giving that we receive, it is in pardoning that we are pardoned, and it is dying that we are born to eternal life. That again was a message in the 1200s, but it was read to us last week at this funeral, and I think it has a lot of things to say for all of us. And I know, again, before we get the meeting started, our fire chief would like to say something to Father Kelly. Chief Babinick, you're recognized.
Thank you, sir. Father Kelly, I just want to, on behalf of all the men and women of the Coral Springs Parkland Fire Department, thank you for hosting that service and the wonderful job that you did in sharing the memory of our brother that was lost. Your church and yourself, you guys were very accommodating, and we appreciate everything you did for us. So publicly, I want to say thank you.
Now I'd like to call the meeting to order. Let's have roll call.
Mayor Campbell.
Here.
Vice Mayor Smaglia. Here. Commissioner Vignola.
Present.
Commissioner Daly.
Here.
Commissioner Carter.
Present.
City Manager Goodrum.
Here.
City Attorney Hearn.
Here. And now I'd like to, if we all could just take a moment of silence. Thank you. Abe, could you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
The flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, now we're going to go a little bit out of order because one of our recipients has to go somewhere. So, Vice Mayor, if you could join me down here. Father Kelly, if you could join us over here. I've known Father Kelly for as long as I've lived in Coral Springs. But Father Kelly this year celebrated his 50th year as a priest. And Father Kelly was born in Westmeath, Ireland. Upon arrival to the United States, he eventually began his priesthood with the Archdiocese of Miami and was ordained on June 16, 1968. After his ordination, he became the assistant pastor of Holy Family Church and several other places of worship, positively impacting people's lives, ranging from the Church of the Little Flower in Hollywood, Holy Name of Jesus Church in West Palm Beach, and St. Joseph Catholic Church in Stewart. Upon his departure from St. Joseph, Catholic Church in North Miami from 1980 to 1985, he then became the pastor of St. Elizabeth Ann Seton, which is our second Catholic church in the city of Coral Springs, St. Andrews being first. He has been the pastor since 1985, and he has seen this church grow from a small congregation to a church of more than 3,000 members. The church services used to be held at Ramblewood Middle School until the new parish was built on Coral Ridge Drive. On behalf of the city, I'd like to have our vice mayor also give a couple words, because our vice mayor is actually an usher at church, and he knows all the secrets of Father Kelly, so he wants to tell us some.
Good morning. I met Father Kelly, I guess, was back in '92. Over the years, I traveled the state of Florida with the Knights of Columbus, and of course, it's always a church, and I've met the clergy in all these churches around the state, and it was always nice. As much as I enjoyed it, it was nice to come home to my church, St. Elizabeth Ann Seton. And it was always nice on Sunday morning to see Father Kelly. And, you know, after you see this? He is like so humble, it's unbelievable. Anyway, the job that you've done, Father, has just been absolutely amazing. You watch the kids come into church on Sunday morning, you see the parishioners come in, and the hugs that you get, it's great. I'm jealous, but it's really great. So on behalf of the entire city and the City Commission, I want to say congratulations for 50 years of absolutely wonderful service to our community. Thank you.
And if I could, I'd like to read this special recognition, Father E. Michael Kelly. You know, there's another Father Kelly, by the way, Michael Kelly. He's over at Cardinal Gibbons High School, and he runs St. Thomas Aquinas High School for years. But in honor of the 50 years of dedicated service to the priesthood and to St. Elizabeth Ann Seton Catholic Church, we congratulate you on this milestone occasion and thank you for your contribution to your church and to your community. Father Kelly, this is signed by us, myself and all of the commission, and I'd like to shake your hand, and I also would like to have a sermon.
Good morning, everybody. I want to thank everybody for this honor. It's something I do every day as to the best of my ability. I have been in Coral Springs now for 33 years. When I first arrived in '85, it was the city in the country. And Coral Ridge Drive, you could walk on it. Today, you barely drive on it. So it has become a very big, busy city, but it's still a beautiful city. So I want to thank the Commission for honoring me, and to thank all of you for making it possible for me to have a job and to be able to have the community here at St. Elizabeth Ann Seton. Thank you all. God bless you all.
John, come on. We want to get a picture so you can send to your family in Ireland.
Yeah, right. Just don't put a number on it.
Should have made him speak too.
No, we don't have that.
I'm also honored today to have a proclamation for the Taiwan National Day. And come on up. Why don't you get everybody who's here from Taiwan to come on up. This is the special proclamation. I am not going to read it all because I don't have all the time today to read the proclamation. But I do want to say something. The National Day of the Republic of China, which is Taiwan, is observed annually on October 10th. It commemorates the start of, and I'm going to probably mispronounce this, Wuchang Uprising in October 10, 1911, led by Dr. Sun Yat-sen, that resulted in the collapse of the Qing dynasty in China and the establishment of the Republic of China, Taiwan, on January 1st, 1912. The reason is not called Independence Day is because the Republic of China was not established from a colony. The government of the Republic of China relocated to Taiwan in 1949. The celebration is different from National Day, which is a founding anniversary day of the Republic of China, which is celebrated on January 1st of each year. So on behalf of the city, I'd like to give you this proclamation.
Thank you so much.
And I'd like you to say a couple words and maybe introduce all the folks here. Or, yeah.
All right.
And David, if you could tell us your title too, so they all know. He's a very important gentleman, by the way.
Okay, Honorable Mayor Campbell and Honorable City Commissioners, good morning, everybody. Yeah. I'm David Chen from Taiwan Consulate. It's a Taipei Economic and Cultural Office, and I'm so happy to be here with you. And also, I would like to, on behalf of my office, it's a Taipei Economic and Cultural Office in Miami, I would like to extend my deep appreciation for inviting me to attend today's meaningful event here. And as you know, Florida is Taiwan's sister state. We spare no efforts to collaborate with the local government across the state of Florida to enhance the bilateral relations between Taiwan and Florida. And this is not only my personal honor, but also the honor of my country, my government, and my people. With your support, with your friendship, and with your encouragement, I do believe my office will go further, work harder with all of you to improve the bilateral interaction and exchange between Taiwan and the Coral Springs. Thanks again, and I wish you all good health, happiness, and future success in your future endeavor. Thank you so much.
And here's what we're going to do. We're going to pass the mic down so you all can tell us your names.
My name is Georgia.
Stockton.
My name is Benjamin Yan.
My name is Jen. Sophie Chan.
Alfonso Wong.
Hi, I'm April Cheng. I'm the president of the Coral Spring Chinese Cultural Association. And the association has been in Coral Spring for 32 years. Welcome to visit us. So we are going to have a little celebration Taiwan Day across from the library. So everybody welcome to come later. And also want to mention the city of Fort Lauderdale and the city of New Taipei are sister cities of Taiwan. And Port of Miami are the sister port of Port Kaohsiung, Taiwan.
Hi, good morning. My name is Winnie Tang and is appointed board member of the Citizen Advisory Board of Senator Campbell from Miami.
That's Daphne Campbell. As some of you might know, I used to be a senator. I guess I'm always a senator, but we want to congratulate Taiwan. If we can give them a round of applause, please. We'll see you over there.
Okay, see you later.
We'll see you later. See you later. See you later. Oh, well, we got to get a picture. What happened to that? Joyce, you're trying to get me out of here too quickly. Okay, everybody, after this, again, there's going to be a meeting over by the Northwest Regional Library, so you're all welcome to go.
Yeah.
Thank you.
There will be food served too.
Food served. Hey, did you hear that? You can get some food.
Thank you, Mayor. Okay, this is the school lunch week.
All right, who's here from school lunch? School lunch, National School Lunch Day.
Is she here?
Well, anyway, we're also celebrating National School Lunch Week.
Oh, here they come. Purple.
Okay, we do have. Now, which one of you are Andrea? You're Andrea. I'm going to give you this. I'm going to take this. This week, the federally funded National School Lunch Program provides nutritionally balanced, healthy meals to students daily. The program, which has been serving the nation's children for 72 years, includes school meals that meet federal nutritional standards, like offering fruit and vegetables every day, serving whole grain rich foods, and limiting fat, calories, and sodium. Schools across the country will be celebrating this important event during National School Lunch Week, October 15th through 19th, 2018. The theme for this year is School's Lunch, Lots to Love. We encourage all residents to become aware and concerned about nutritional habits for their children and themselves in hope of achieving a healthier community for the future. The City of Coral Springs is proud to support this effort, and we have this proclamation. The National School Lunch Program has served our nation admirably for 72 years through the advanced practices and nutritional education. The program is dedicated to the health and well-being of our children. The theme for this year is School Lunches, Lots to Love. And during this week, we encourage residents to become aware and concerned about nutritional habits. Therefore, we, the City Commission of the City of Coral Springs, Florida, proclaim the week of October 15th through 19th, 2018 as National School Lunch Week. I also want to tell everybody, last year, I went and had lunch, I think it was at Coral Springs Elementary last year, and the food was excellent.
Come a long way.
Andrea, can you say a couple words and accept that?
Thank you. Good morning. My name is Andrea Geller. I'm the cafeteria manager at Westchester Elementary. This is my colleague, Karen Corelli. She's the cafeteria manager at Sawgrass Springs Middle and Heron Heights Elementary in Parkland. We're honored to be here to accept this proclamation from the city. Thank you very much. Our theme is Power Up, so we're very excited to get the kids, interested in the food. We love to have the parents come. We love to have the kids come and try our food, and we're excited for all of the changes and everything in the future with our department. Thank you.
And one thing I want to tell everybody here, you might not know this, but some of the kids, this is the only meals they get to eat. And if we didn't have this program, they'd go hungry. And that's a shame for our society. And that's why this program is so critical to helping these kids get through their early childhood lives. And I think some of the parents actually even come and eat too, correct?
Absolutely.
So, well, let's get a picture. First of all, let's give them a round of applause, everybody. Don't feel bad. I got this watch as Apple Watch, and they changed it, and it came up in Chinese, and I forgot where. I gotta go over and talk to some of my friends from Taiwan. They can tell me what it says.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just the certificates.
What's this one?
Fire. You're doing this one here and then this one after it.
Okay. Chief, why don't you join me? Each year, we have all the people with the pink shirts who collected a lot of money for. We're doing this one first. I tell you what, I'm going to let the chief read this one, and you can, hey, listen, you're cheating. You get everybody's name on it. You can introduce everybody.
All right. So the first one we're going to do is Fire Prevention Month, or Fire Prevention Week. Each year since 1922, the National Fire Protection Association sponsors Fire Prevention Week. It's in commemoration of the Great Chicago Fire that occurred in 1871. The anniversary of this tragedy is observed in a way that would keep the public informed about the importance of fire prevention and fire safety. Accordingly, each year a theme is selected. For Fire Prevention Week 2018, the theme is Look, Listen, Learn, Be Aware. Fires can happen anywhere. I'm going to ask our fire marshal just to say a couple quick words about fire prevention.
Thank you, Chief. Yeah, going along with the theme, on the previous year we've had fires in anything from unoccupied sheds to occupied high-end homes. Coral Springs Parkland Fire Department is committed year-round to fire prevention as well as a number of other life safety initiatives. And I wish more of my staff could be here because the community risk reduction heads up that effort, and I wanted to recognize them publicly. So thank you all very much.
Okay, we have this proclamation, and I'm going to have everybody introduce themselves. The City of Coral Springs is committed to ensuring the safety and security of all those living and visiting our city. As we proclaim Fire Prevention Week, we encourage residents to take personal steps to increase fire safety in our community. Remember to always look, listen, and be aware. Fire can happen anywhere. Therefore, we, the City Commission of Coral Springs, Florida, proclaim the week of October 7th through 13th, 2018 as Fire Prevention Week. Chief, I'd like to give this to you.
Thank you, sir.
And then we're going to have everybody introduce themselves.
Good morning, Jace Gonzalez, Assistant Fire Chief for C-Shift.
Lacey Merritt, Fire Inspector 2, Community Risk Reduction Division.
Oscar Gomez, firefighter, C-Shift.
Mike Farmer, Lieutenant, C-Shift.
Mike McNally, Deputy Fire Chief.
Robin McDonald, Senior Office Assistant.
Daisy Diaz, Senior Office Assistant.
Lisa Weiss, Senior Office Assistant.
Alyssa Abzug, Principal Office Assistant.
Division Chief Bruce Bowers, Fire Marshal for the city.
John Calloway, Driver Engineer, C-Shift.
Rob McGilloway, Division Chief.
Jared Hahn, Fireman, C-Shift.
Michael Matz, Captain, C-Shift.
Jonathan Robbins, Lieutenant B-Shift.
Estelle Tessler, Fire Admin.
Debbie Pringle, Executive Assistant to Chief Babinek.
All right, everybody that's still here, why don't we give them a round of applause? Now, we also have another proclamation, so the fire department's doing well this week. Where's the police department?
We're just going to do them all at once, Mayor. So that way we don't,
Go ahead. Why don't you do them all?
We don't have to keep coming back. So each October, we honor those touched by cancer by wearing special cancer awareness T-shirts. For the month of October, all firefighters will wear either the navy blue or pink shirts that you see. with a lavender ribbon to represent all types of cancer. Cancer is a problem throughout our communities, but especially in the fire service, and we're working on some important cancer initiatives to reduce the exposures and the occurrences of cancer in the fire service. So each year we wear these shirts to remind those of all those that were touched by cancer, and we appreciate all of the support that we get with this, because we also sell these shirts through the Benevolent, and as you see throughout the community, a lot of people are wearing these shirts as well.
All right, we got a great proclamation here that has a little error, so maybe we're gonna have to get it redone. It says, special recognition, Coral Springs Fire Department Cancer Awareness Month for promoting cancer awareness by wearing navy shirts. I think we have to put navy and pink shirts with the fire department Maltese cross and lavender ribbon representing all types of cancers throughout the month of October. We support and commend your efforts within your department and community to educate firefighters and public about the importance of cancer awareness. Can we give them another big round of applause? And now we're going to get, we got one more, I guess.
Sir, Mike, are the representatives here from this? Okay. Sure. Mayor, tying into our Cancer Prevention Month, each year we hold fundraisers to raise money to donate to the American Cancer Society. And I'd like to turn the mic over to Mike Farmer, who's the president of our Benevolent, and he'll explain a little bit more about that.
Thank you, Chief. We have the representatives from the Cancer Society. You come and join me, please. We appreciate that. Thank you for being here today. So not only for the month of October do we wear the pink shirts with the lavender ribbons for cancer awareness, but also our annual pasta dinner. We're proud to present our 8th annual pasta dinner this year. We started this endeavor and we served just over 400 people our first year. Last year we served almost 1,300 people. This year we're hoping and planning for between 15 to 2,000 people. So check us out on Facebook, on the city workplace. Tell your friends, your neighbors. This event's really become a staple for the city. We're proud to host this at our fire station. We open up the doors to our Fire Station 80 at 2801 Coral Springs Drive. Friends, families, children, everybody's welcomed. We'll have an open house. We'll have the vehicles for children to go through. See station life firsthand through the firefighters' eyes on what we do on a daily basis. This is a great way to give back to the community, to show our support for cancer awareness. And last year we paired up with the American Cancer Society. This year we'll be pairing up with the American Cancer Society again, along with the Lisa Bocard Breast Cancer Foundation, and also the Coral Springs Firefighters Benevolent Members Assistance Fund. So on behalf of the members of the firefighters, we want to go ahead and present to the American Cancer Society a check for $5,000 for last year's efforts of our dinner. And we hope we can get everybody to mark their calendars this year, October 27th. It's a Saturday, Fire Station 80, from 4:30 to 8:30. We'll have a pasta dinner. It's a $5 donation. That's include all homemade food made by your firefighters, sauces, pasta, bread, salad. We'll have desserts. Our t-shirts will be available for purchase there as well, too. It's a great day. Invite everybody to please come out, support your firefighters, support cancer awareness, and we appreciate your support. Thank you very much. Thank you, guys.
No, we got to get you up here. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you for coming. Thank you.
My son just texted me, he said, make sure that I say hello.
Tell him I said hello.
University of Florida Honors Program. And he said this, he just texted me to make sure I say hello.
I was a busboy once.
Okay, now I think we're up to public comment. Anybody in the public signed up, first of all?
Mayor, there are no signed speakers this morning.
Anybody want to speak? See, no one wants to speak. So let's move on to the next item, which is item number 7. This is a section 4.08, which is a proclamation by the City Commission. All elections shall be proclaimed by the mayor at least 30 days prior thereto. And if the mayor refuses or omits to make such proclamation, it shall be made by the clerk. But want of proclamation shall not defeat the general election of city officers. Ordinance number 78-114, section 1, section 6-678, which is, I believe, the date that it was passed. Ordinance number 2002-127, section 5, on elections, which I think was passed on March 9th of 2004. Ordinance number 2014-109, 5/7/14, which is May 7th of 14, and the election of 11/4 of 14. The City of Coral Springs will hold a general election on Tuesday, November 6th of 2018. I don't think we have to do any action other than read it.
We just done that. You're correct, Mayor.
I just did it correctly, I hope.
Thank you.
Okay. Let's move on to the consent agenda. Does anybody want to remove anything from the consent agenda? Moved by Vice Mayor Semaglia, seconded by Commissioner Vignola. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Going on to number 16, ordinance 2018-105. Mr. Hearn, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. This is an ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Coral Springs, Florida, amending Chapter 4, Section 4-7 of the Code of the City of Coral Springs entitled Animal Control, providing for severability, providing for codification, providing for conflicts, and providing for an effective date. This is a request to approve and adopt. This is the second reading. We've already had our public hearing, so just need to discuss or vote.
Any discussion? Do I hear any motions? Moved by Commissioner Vignola, seconded by Commissioner Carter. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passes unanimously. Item number 17, Mr. Engel.
Item number 17 is the request to name the special events field at Sportsplex after Tom Messenheimer. We were approached by Joe Marrero. We took it through the Special Events Naming Committee, and the recommendation of the committee is to accept and name the field after Tom Messenheimer.
Any comment?
Great idea.
All right, it's moved by Commissioner Vignola, seconded by Vice Mayor Semaglia. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passes unanimously. Maybe I'm speeding this thing up, but Commissioner Daly, I presume you're aye on the telephone?
Yes, sir.
If you're a nay, just let me know. I'll presume it's aye if I don't hear a nay. Mr.
Yes,
Engel,
sir.
Item number 18, you're recognized.
Again, the Special Events Naming Committee was approached by the recreation soccer program in Coral Springs to name the pavilion that is between the fields at Mullins Park, Track 23 and Track 24 fields, after Dale Davis. Dale Davis was a member of the Recreation Board for 25 years. He was a coach. He taught the referees, and he also trained all the future coaches, and he was a coach himself for many, many years.
Any discussion? I moved by Commissioner Vignola, seconded by Vice Mayor Semaglia. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passes unanimously. Going on to the appointment of the Affordable Housing Advisory Committee. Madam Clerk.
Mayor, you have in front of you applications for consideration. This board can have up to, I believe it is 11 committee members. You have in front of you 10. A minimum of 6 categories must be represented, which you do have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So for your consideration, I put a chart down for all of you, highlighting each person and the recommended category.
Okay, any discussion?
Question, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, Commissioner Carter.
Sorry. Of the 6 categories, so if you were to get the 11th person, would they have to fill one of the slots in that's not currently filled? Or it wouldn't matter? Right, but I said if someone else applied, would they have to fill a slot that's not currently filled?
This is all based on Florida statute. It would be nice if it could fill a category that's not yet filled so that it complements.
You can have multiple, you can have repeat
Mhm.
categories. You need at least 6.
Okay, great, thank you.
All right,
Second.
moved by Commissioner Vignola to move the 10 that have applied, who are Bonnie Darvish, Alicia Herwood, Shamel Jackson, Chanel.
Charnel, she's right over
I said Charnel. What did?
there. I thought you said Chanel.
No, I said.
I'm sorry.
I said Charnel. It's Diona Cosma, Oscar Laura, Dale Pazdra, Daniel Prudhomme,
Prudhomme, sorry.
Prudhomme, Carlos Verne, Camille Wallace, and Janice Zalitz. They've all been moved, seconded by Vice Mayor Semaglia. All in favor? Aye. They are all appointed to the Affordable Housing Advisory Committee. Going on to item number 20, Mr. Carpenter, are you here? Paul, I see you over there. Traffic calming program update.
Good morning. I'm going to start off with this, and he'll also add in on some of it as well. We do the traffic calming program each year and have had it budgeted since 2002 when it first began. The traffic management team is the team that looks over a lot of the questions that come up about these various streets, and they're all members. Some of them are here, I believe, from the police department, fire, public works, community development. I guess I need to turn. Have we have 30 streets that have been completed since 2002, and there's 19 permanent streets that have been done. That means they have concrete as opposed to something like the rubber ones that are on. We have 10 streets that have rubber cushions, and we are again now, as of your budget year, this past year you just approved, we'll be redoing Northwest 110th Avenue that had the raised sidewalks there, and we'll be looking at that again to review that as well. That's the purple one there on Sample to Wiles Road. Our program was set up to reduce speeds and volume on eligible streets that happen. We had our slice meetings, and a lot of people started to really complain about the traffic and how fast people were going and how much traffic there was on certain streets. So this program was set up, and we looked at the city of Boca Raton, who had already had one in place at the time, and we've been following along with what they do as well over the years. But basically, it reduces cut-through traffic and encourages the traffic to go on the streets that can handle that kind of volume. So it increases safety for pedestrians. We did amend the program in 2015 for speed bumps because on private property, the people were starting to want to put speed bumps in neighborhoods and in commercial properties, and they were putting in sizes and types of bumps that really were acting negatively towards our fire department, so they wanted to start to look at that. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But we can still continue to look at the streets and make sure that they're still evaluating as they were originally when they were set up to be chosen, so that they're effective still today. The requests, as I mentioned, come in through slice meetings or public stuff and phone-in requests. You all, I'm sure, have received requests yourself. What we do is we complete a traffic study to measure the traffic volume and the speeds utilizing a volunteer. Dick Smith has been doing this since day one. He used to be a county engineer with Broward County, and he's just been invaluable with what he's given to this program, because he goes out and puts the counts out actually on the streets and does all that work every time, bringing it back and forth, doing all these streets that we've done throughout the years. But if a street qualifies, we develop a traffic calming plan with an engineer, and then we go straight to the neighborhoods to make sure that at least 2/3 of the people there want the speed humps or whatever kind of devices we want to use, because we want to make sure that the neighborhood does want them before we put them in. That's key to some of the other ones that around the area that don't do that, but we want to make sure that the people in the neighborhood really want them. We've only had one that didn't want them over the years, but there was one. As I mentioned, we do the evaluation and follow-up to measure the impact to try to get 15% reduction in volume or 10% in speed. We've used several different kinds of traffic calming measures. The speed cushions are about $6,000 a piece. Speed humps that we've done are $11,000 when they're concrete. Raised crosswalks, like along Sportsplex Drive, or above that. We didn't have the exact number on that. It's around 15,000 or so, I believe. And traffic islands along Coral Hills Drive we've done, and then of course there's the roundabout that's in Turtle Run, which they paid for themselves. There also is a roundabout up at Holmberg Road that's actually within the city as well. Speed humps, which is the most utilized device, is designed for local roads from 25 to 30 miles an hour. And they vary in distance apart because it depends on where your driveway is located or where stop signs are, different things that happen. But we have an engineer that looks at those, and the streets really are not supposed to have less than 500 vehicles a day, or we don't want them to have a speed hump. That's just taking up too much time for too few cars as part of the criteria. This is an example of the rubber speed cushions, just quickly to let you go. The lifespan of the rubber speed cushions is 2 to 4 years, and that's proven to be a little bit expensive for the maintenance on this, and Paul will get into that later as well. Speed bumps on private property. I know if Bruce Bowers was still here, he was going to help with this slide. It really is the fire marshal's requirement now to approve these type of private speed bumps, because we really have had issues with too much time being taken, or the patients that are inside the vehicle actually get hurt from the jarring of what's happening. So it's a zoning permit, which is a free permit, but the various residential communities have come in and asked for it, and when they repave, we get those that have already been put in out there. We have not asked people to go in and take them out at this point. They've been grandfathered in, but we, as the repavement happens wherever they are, we're catching them that way and making sure. This is an example of the one that I think kind of brought this up, which was Home Depot's, was so high up and was really not safe for people to be going over. So this is kind of what it looked like, and it clearly was a steep bump. The islands in Wyndham Lakes?
Huh?
In Wyndham Lakes?
Yeah.
That's one that the fire marshal has approved. Left, okay. Really? Okay. Well, anyway, now here's Paul to just go a little bit further into some of the issues and concerns that we've had with the program, and we want to make sure that we're keeping up with what you want to do and what you receive as input from your constituents.
So where do we go from here? Just give you, within the traffic calming policy, there is a stipulation that we can review streets that come very close to qualifying but don't qualify with a score of 2.0. They have to have 2.5 to qualify. But it allows us to do some extra review of these streets, reviewing the crash records, if it's located near school or pedestrian activity-oriented facility, driveway density, and looking at the absence or presence of sidewalks. We've only done this in one instance, and that was down on, I believe it was Southwest 1st Street over in Oakwood off of University Drive. That was scored 2.0, but there had been a fatality on that road, and it came to the commission, and we reviewed it again, and the TMT recommended that we put in, they have speed cushions on that road today. So that's the only time we've actually utilized a 2.0. As an example, over the years, if we had approved some of these are streets that could have been approved, but we didn't recommend it. But if we want to look more closely at these, and if these were actually approved, these are an estimated cost of the impact on us in terms of our budget, providing speed bumps or speed humps on these streets. Some of the ongoing traffic concerns includes the emergency vehicles, and this is true for speed or traffic calming all over the country. It's one of the big concerns is reducing this response time for emergency vehicles. They have to slow down to go over these speed bumps, speed humps, and then the impacts, of course, of patients inside these vehicles. So they do have to go over pretty slow, and it does affect response time, so we have to be very careful as to where we place these, and the speed cushions help a lot because those vehicles can pass over these without, they're only 6 feet wide in the middle of each lane, so these vehicles have wider wheelbases and they can get over them without feeling the full impact. So we've been utilizing those in the recent years. Another concern is the ongoing cost of the repair of the rubber speed cushions. They're considered temporary devices. They last between 2 and 4 years. They take each one of those speed humps. There are 2 of them, one in each lane. Each one of them, I better look at this, but each one of them has 16 pieces, so there's 32 pieces altogether, and they're bolted in with 6 bolts per piece, so it's 192 bolts goes in to put in those 2. So it takes about 5 hours, about 2 hours or 5 workers to actually install these. So it takes quite a lot of labor to replace these, and they last 2 to 4 years on average. Some have lasted longer, some don't last that long. It depends on the amount of traffic, but we are replacing these quite regularly. And I noticed a mistake in this previous slide. I said 6,000. It's actually 3,000 to replace one of these, a set. And if we go to a concrete, we could do these for about 11,000, but then we reduce all the labor costs over the years, and over time, those labor costs build up. And concrete, we're looking at using concrete speed cushions, kind of a dichotomy in words, but they don't have much cushion in them, but they do have the impact, and this would address the response time for emergency vehicles. Another concern is the enforcement, and I could bring in our Sergeant Coleman for he could expand on some of these, but we don't have a lot of officers for the entire city to do traffic enforcement. 7 officers for the entire city, and they're usually peak hours when you have a lot of the traffic on local roads. They're usually at major intersections. They're arterials, so it's very difficult to assign them to local streets to do traffic enforcement. The use of message boards and these radar signs are an example of something that could be done. It's an educational tool where you've seen the message boards, but they also make them in smaller, more portable. They can be permanent, but they sit up on signs on a road and they'll tell you how fast you're going. And that kind of education will slow down some people. It won't slow down everybody, but it's another tool we could use to assist people where we aren't installing speed bumps. Some arterials like Ramblewood or Lakeview, we get concerns, 25 miles per hour, you get a lot of speeding. That's an example of something we could do there. I'm not quite sure what a mini mortar man is. Is that what that is? Okay. We have some, and then we also, the traffic management team recognized that although we used to have red light cameras, they were effective in slowing traffic and having people obey the red lights anyway, and we wouldn't mind seeing those come back if that's possible. Apparently they are legal now. If that's possible to come back, we would recommend something like that. We did look at, we went back and looked at a couple cities, Boca Raton for instance, which we patterned our traffic calming program after Boca Raton. One thing that they did, but we haven't done, would be they established a primary access route for emergency vehicles. So they went on a map and they put what streets they would not consider traffic calming on, because these would be primary access routes for the emergency vehicles. They have not added any new traffic calming devices in several years. So, and that's similar to us. We have not actually installed new traffic speed humps since 2009. We've added one in North Springs Way since then, but that had already been, we already had a couple on there. But it's been a while since we actually have approved any. Because those 30 streets, I think, really were done, and it's most of the streets, all the streets that we do now really don't qualify. There's not enough traffic or there's not enough speed. Boca Raton has a budget of $40,000 a year for new devices that rolls over each year if they don't use it, which apparently they haven't been. Speed bumps are not allowed on private property in Boca. And rubber speed humps and speed cushions are not allowed. They use speed tables. Speed tables are, where they have a flat top. It's not a pedestrian crosswalk, but it's a flat top. It has less impact on vehicles. So that was Boca. We also looked at Coconut Creek. They don't have a public approval process like we do, and we think that's one of our strengths, that we do get buy-in from the community for the installation of the speed humps. They respond to citizens' requests. They do an engineering study, and if it qualifies, they go ahead and budget it and install them. They also only use speed tables, and these are extra long. Ours are about 14 feet long. These are 24 feet long, so 6 feet incline up to the top, and then 12 feet across the top of the table, and then 6 feet back down. We're looking at those as maybe a possible alternative if we were to do, for instance, on 110th Avenue, because 110th is going to be difficult because of the bike lanes, and the cushions won't necessarily work there. But anyway, that's a good example from Coconut Creek, as well as Boca, that they use speed tables. They have a $50,000 revolving fund that is replenished each year. Recommendations from the traffic management team. In order to reduce the cost of the labor of the maintenance of these, we would recommend going to converting the rubber speed cushions to concrete. Also, consider establishing a priority access routes for emergency vehicles. Work with the fire department and police department to identify these routes, put them on the map, and then this would preclude us from having to deal with a lot of citizens that want, for instance, on Lakeview, that we get requests for it all the time, and I also have to explain to them that we can't do that. It's a collector roadway. We wouldn't do that. Eligible, but this would identify it for the public that these are access routes for emergency vehicles. And then we would recommend continuing the traffic management team to review streets that are 2.0 to apply these criteria. And obviously, if we started recommending these, we would not have the budget to do it. So we would recommend that if we considered doing a street that's a 2.0, we'd probably come back with a recommendation to the commission during the budget and put it into the next year's budget, if it's approved. And that's the end of my presentation. I'd like to have any comments, and we'll answer any questions. But
this is on a city workshop, so there's no action required. But if you have any questions, Mr. or Commissioner Vignola.
You said speed tables are a little gentler on the vehicles.
Yeah.
There's research and studies on that, and
there are studies on that. I think the best study is to actually drive over them. And I did that yesterday over, they have 3 streets done in Coconut Creek. It's off 441 in Lyons, if you can find them. They're neighborhood roads. There's one on a bike lane, and you definitely can feel the difference. But there is research on them that's why they're used more frequently, is because of the less impact on vehicles. In my perspective, we're not necessarily trying to punish people for going over these. We give them advance warning with signage and with pavement markings to let them know that it's coming, and so that they'll slow down. If they don't slow down, they hit them, they will feel them.
I think with especially cars, you've started looking at some BMWs, Mercedes and things, some of the vehicles are more, they're lower. And that's where the speed bump, why we went into the private property issue, was because cars were bottoming me out over by Home Depot over there at Atlantic Crossing. I like the idea of the tables, especially on some of these lowered cars and stuff, because growing up in a body shop, we see damage from regular speed bumps that are installed all the time. And some of these repairs can be very costly. So I'd like to see us go like Boca and Coconut Creek and go over to the speed tables. So moving forward, that's what I'd like to see us do in the future.
Commissioner Carter.
As a Realtor, Boca and speed tables all day long. And like I said, the island at Wyndham Lakes, hate those. They're just awful so they jar everybody in the car. But the speed tables, you get plenty of notice. You can go over them comfortably. I'd be supporting that.
The islands of Wyndham Lakes has the speed bumps, and those are 2 inches high, over 20 inches long, so you do feel it, but it's not like hitting these speed bumps that are 14 with 3 inches high, and it's parabolic, so they're round. So as you're going up, as your front wheels are going down, your back wheels are going up, so you get an extra jolt. That's why the tables even that out.
Yeah, I like the tables in Boca.
The speed bumps were a response to the huge ones that were on the private property, and so that's how we've been working on those. Plus, they are only 6 feet wide, so the emergency vehicles don't hit them.
Vice Mayor Smackley.
We've talked about this before, about different things, different places in town. I'm just going to give one example, otherwise I could be here all week long, what I see on the road every day. I was at the public shopping center coming out of the side on Ramblewood, and across the street is the mall. They got a right turn only, which 1 out of 5 uses it. They always turn left or go straight. There was a box truck, a great big office supply box truck. This guy pulls up, started to turn right. He looked around a little bit, and he whips left. And when he did, it was like a movie scene. Cars flying everywhere, trying to get out of his way. We have got to do something about these corners. People driving the wrong way along Sample Road and those parking lots. Signs are there, but they're not reading them. We've got to have, I suggest, a workshop and work on this stuff.
This is a workshop. That's what we're doing right now.
No,
We're workshopping it.
I mean, just...
You want another workshop?
Yeah, just take the time to go over these things. Somebody is going to get hurt. We mentioned Lakeview and Ramblewood, 25, 30 miles an hour. Nobody does. I'll set my speedometer on the way to church on a Sunday morning, and they just fly by me. Somebody's going to get hurt. We've got to learn to control this stuff. So I would recommend that we do a special workshop and look into all of these situations. It's really got to, I mean, we've got to do something. Scares me.
Probably the worst in the city is the Sportsplex.
Yes.
And I don't recall any signs out there saying, beware, you're about ready to get flipped up 6 inches.
There are signs.
I don't see it in this picture. I'm going to go out there one of these days and look at it.
Those are speed tables, aren't they?
Those are speed tables. Actually, those are pedestrian crosswalks. Each one of them are connected to the sidewalk, so those are pedestrian crosswalks. And the difficulty, of course, is that they're built to the curb height, which is 6 inches. That wouldn't be recommended, I don't think, on any of these.
I think the concern with that is you're on Royal Palm Boulevard and you're doing 40 miles an hour and people aren't paying attention to signs saying the speed table's coming up. And if you hit those going 40 miles an hour, yeah, there's going to be issues. And that's why you see the marks in the roadway of all the cars that are bothering them out around there. But maybe we could do a little bit better on the signage out over there to give people a better warning. 'Cause I know that is an area where we get a lot of complaints.
Here's a suggestion I'm hearing from the commission, Mr. Goodrum, is let's bring this up again at another workshop. And I think probably we should get the recommendations put in writing that you guys want, so we can vote on it or give you an idea as to where the commission wants to go with this.
Okay.
Because I do remember when I first got on the commission, Commissioner Vignola talked about the Home Depot one, because I think you had some damage to your vehicle.
Almost $3,000 worth of damage to my car, and I went over it going extremely slow.
So if we could do that.
Mayor, if you could help me understand specifically what you would want
here's
the
what,
workshop to be.
Here's what they're recommending to us. 3 things. Reduce maintenance costs by converting rubber speed cushions to concrete. I don't know if we have to do that by statute, by ordinance, or whether we can just do it. They want to consider establishing priority access routes for emergency vehicles. Again, I listened and I understand what you're saying, but I don't know where these access roads would be.
Right.
You know, I think we should at least know where they're gonna be. And then they want continued TMT review of streets that score 2.0 and meet criteria. If recommended, present it in the next CIP budget. That has to have, I would presume, some type of ordinance to do that.
Or policy. We have it.
If it's all just policy, then they can do it. But I think the commission should have some input into it.
Yes, definitely. And this really was, the whole program, or the whole update we were giving you was based on the strategic plan meeting that you had last December, where you wanted to have these certain things updated, like we're talking about the public art plan, and this is another example of the things you wanted to hear about. And we wanted to give the update and then let you review and then give us direction. So I think we're in the discussion item under a regular meeting. I don't know why you couldn't just let us know the direction is that you agree with us here and we continue to do these things that we've listed. And if there's big changes to anything, we would definitely bring them back to you if we make big changes. But these are all just consider and review and those kinds of actions. So
Kind of like at BJ's, you know, they got those rubber speed humps.
Mm-hmm.
And every time I walk by it, it's repair.
Right.
Someone's gonna get hurt, so.
Right. Those are on private property.
I understand.
Right. So, I mean, we do want to keep looking at those, and, you know,
Well, one of
the
the
fire
suggestions-
marshal can
One of the
review.
suggestions I heard from somebody, I think it was Commissioner Carter maybe, was that we adopt what Boca has, which they don't even allow speed humps on private property. Commissioner Vignola?
I would be opposed to that just in the fact of crossing the parking lot with your kids.
I'm not agreeing with it,
Right.
by the way, but I heard somebody say, let's do what Boca does.
Well, I think I said it in regards to the speed tables. But I would definitely be opposed to allowing private property to do it, because, you know, if you go even at Atlantic Crossing over by the Home Depot years ago, before they had bumps in, people go down there and go pretty quickly, and you know, nobody wants to be playing Frogger going across to take your kid shopping.
All right, well, then let's get a consensus from, Commissioner Dale, are you still with us?
Yes, sir.
What would you like to do?
I'm happy to go with either putting it on a separate agenda item or not. Speed bumps to me have been one of the bigger issues over the years, and I have mixed feelings on both. I understand fire's concerns and emergency access concerns, but I also understand the concerns of the people that call me that live on these streets, that regardless of what the traffic study says, they've got cars zipping down their neighborhood every single afternoon when their kids playing in the front yard. So, you know, with that, I think I just talked myself into, if we're moving toward kind of taking a deeper dive into it at a commission workshop, then, you know, I can get on board with that. I do also like the idea of moving the tables over the speed bumps.
Okay, Commissioner Vignola, what's your?
I'd say we go ahead with the recommendation, but however, moving forward, I'd like to see us go with the speed tables, and I don't want to see us make changes to the private property policy of, you know, allowing them. I mean, I have not seen the one that you're speaking of that I recently put in.
Boca?
No, I'm talking about the one over in Wyndham Lakes.
Oh, yeah. It's
But I
the-
definitely want to go check those out and see what we're doing there. But if there's an issue I see there, then I'll make sure to bring it up.
Vice Mayor Semaglia.
I believe it's more than a speed bump problem. Different turns, there's a litany of things. So I would recommend that we do a traffic-only workshop so we can address all these issues. And I'll be glad to sit with anybody to go over these issues. Again, we had done a list with Paul.
Yes, our presentation here today was just really talking about our traffic calming program. And there's definitely a lot of other traffic issues around the city for sure to be looking into. But this was about the manual that we have and the setup that we have right now. And if we want to add an emphasis on using speed tables, that would be very good input to try to see if that's something we want to do. If it works with the situations that come along and prefer those, that's good direction, I think, on that.
Commissioner Carter.
I respect the traffic management team's recommendations, especially when it comes to reducing cost. I like that. I would like to know what the priority access routes are. And on number 3 for reviewing criteria, I'm hoping that you are reviewing, not just whitewashing it and saying, hey, you're under 2, no deal.
And, you know, I guess one of the biggest complaints I do get, by the way, is speed bumps where people actually want them in their neighborhoods because they say traffic's going by real quickly. One was a very close friend of mine, Dr. Ira Fox, who's a pain management doctor, and a number of people who live on his street have come to me and said, for some reason, they go off, I guess just by Wiles, and they use his street as a speedway, cut-through. And I asked, I don't know if it was Mr. Goodrum or whether it was Mr.
It was me.
To do something, and they said there wasn't enough traffic, I guess. But that still doesn't stop the fact that people are hauling ass down these streets. And as far as the other question I have is it in our budget to switch from rubber to concrete on a steady basis?
And Mayor, and just, it is not in our current budget. What I would do is this input we would develop into our next CIP, a program to update these. What I'm hearing, just so that I make sure I'm meeting your expectations, is the desire to convert more to speed tables as opposed to speed bumps. And then the priority access routes, we would need to identify what those would be, because that will be controversial, because you would be removing, the assumption would be you may need to remove speed traffic control devices in certain areas to develop these. We would obviously come back with that prior to, but we would develop it into the CIP, our next CIP.
Okay, well, anyway, I guess the consensus is we want to do something.
It's
And
time
I
to
guess the
update it.
consensus is we'd like to open it up to, let's find out what all of our traffic problems are, and work from there. And when we want to do it is up to you guys.
Hey, Mayor, I would just, with that, we're having a retreat towards the latter part of this year where the commission prioritizes what's important to them, and then we make the commitment on what we can do from a capacity standpoint. So I think that we've got a number of issues that have come up throughout the year that we put in a queue for that. I think that would be a good opportunity to discuss it, prioritize that project. We can determine what the level of effort's going to be to meet your expectations on that, if that works for you.
I think that works for everybody. Work for everybody?
Yes.
All right, I got to get this meeting moving a little quicker because our city attorney needs to go to physical therapy. So let's go. Commissioner Daly, why don't you give us your comments?
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. Sorry I can't be there today, guys. I'm actually on the League of Cities fast fly-in to Washington, D.C. This is the trip that I go on usually about 2 times a year up to Washington to meet with our congressional delegation and push different city issues, the most recent of which are usually flood mapping and flood insurance program related, municipal bonds, things like that. But one very significant thing that I want everybody to kind of keep your fingers crossed for today is, after years of pushing, thanks to so many members of the congressional delegation, but particularly Congresswoman Frankel, Congressman Deutsch, Senator Rubio, and Senator Nelson, it looks like they've finally fixed the language. If you remember, there was a kind of a loophole in the law that allowed the FEMA deobligation process to happen when the Inspector General came back and asked for FEMA to claw back those funds from us after Wilma. While ultimately we had a good favorable outcome with FEMA, and they didn't take all of the money they had asked for or demanded, there are cities all across the state that are still dealing with the implications of Wilma. Meanwhile, they're no longer getting, they haven't even gotten funding yet from Irma, and we're included in that loop. But what's significant is today the Senate is actually planned, knock on wood, to vote to approve the closing of that loophole, which will prevent, it gives some added coverage to us as a municipality, so that 5, 6, 7, 8 years after a storm, the federal government can't come back and say, oh, by the way, we know that we approved these dollars at the time, but we want them back. So this is quite significant, and it's something that we've been working toward for the last 4 or 5 years, and it's great to be here actually when it's, you know, knock on wood again, coming to fruition. So with that, if anybody needs me, my cell phone number is 954-778-3304. You can email me at ddaly@coralsprings.org or find me on any of the social media outlets.
Commissioner Vignola.
I had the honor over the weekend to stop by Mrs. P's dance studio across the street. They're celebrating their 41st anniversary in the city. They took a year off, Mr. and Mrs. P, relax and chill out, but they're back this year, and it was nice to see them over there for 41 years in business in the city of Coral Springs. It's pretty awesome. The Farmers Market's coming back on October 14th. It'll be over at the Art Walk from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. I have to comment on the International Dinner Dance. I found the entertainment of the evening a little bit inappropriate and offensive, to be honest with you. I hope in the future we can be more sensitive to the various cultures we're trying to celebrate and shy away from ethnic stereotypes. I'll have my office hours this month on Tuesday at noon, this upcoming Tuesday at Pasquale's on Royal Palm. If you'd like to set up a meeting with me, please schedule by calling Andrea at 954-344-5911. You can have some pizza with me, meet me, talk about any city issues. As always, feel free to call me on my cell phone anytime at 954-632-7544. And one last thing, I'd just like to wish my mom a happy birthday. Thank you.
Vice Mayor Semaglia.
Yes, thank you, Mayor.
Why don't we wish Larry's mom a happy birthday? Happy birthday. What's your mom's name?
Lori.
Lori?
Yep.
All right, everybody. Happy birthday, Lori.
Happy birthday, Laurie.
Thank you.
Two of you out of tune. I'll be real quick. I want to, again, salute the military for doing what they do so we can do what we do. And I want to salute, of course, again this week, police and fire. And last night, I had the honor to be over at the New York Retired Police Officers group called the 1013 Club. Have you ever sat in a room with about 150 retired New York cops? That's a treat in itself. They honored the police departments in the area that helped on February 14th. In fact, I don't see the chief here this morning. Oh, then I was going to turn it over to the chief, if it's okay with you, Mayor, and show what the
Deputy Chief McKeon.
Yeah.
Good morning. Yeah, Chief Perry wanted to just recognize what took place last night from the 1013 Club, which was pretty impressive. Should have stayed for the bar afterwards. That was more impressive to hear some of the stories.
Oh, you stayed?
But I'll read what it says here. It says, presented to the City of Coral Springs, please accept this token of appreciation for expending of both resources and personnel to the tragic event at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School on February 14th, 2018. Now, it does say the City of Coral Springs. I know the police department was there, but this is also a recognition for the fire department for their response. I know the City of Tamarack had representatives there. Coconut Creek. So it was, again, although it says the City of Coral Springs, this was truly a law enforcement, first responder, everybody that responded that day, that's what this recognition is for. So we thank them for for recognizing us. Thank you guys for being there last night. It was a nice event.
It was a great event. And I had the honor about a week or so ago to go to the seniors, Saturi Hall celebration, and we celebrated August and September birthdays. That was another treat I had with all those seniors. We had a great time. And that's it. If you need to contact me, I'm at 954-801-2004, and I make myself available to anybody that needs me. Thank you.
Commissioner Carter.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I wish I had stayed for the after party last night. I would have been rear-ended. So get your yodeling ready for this Saturday. The City of Coral Springs is celebrating Arttoberfest. Saturday from 4 to 10, we'll have Stein holding contest and yodeling contest. There's free parking at City Hall. I also want to remind everybody that October is Craft Show Month. So look for the signs for various craft shows. And lastly, and most importantly, it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Please do not let the fact that you do not have insurance stop you. You can call most hospitals and let them know you do not have insurance, and there are multiple programs to help people to be tested for breast cancer. Commissioner Vignola, I apologize that you did not have a good time at the International Dinner Dance or that you took offense. But that committee, I am chairing it as the city liaison, and we work very, very hard to respect the different cultures. And I understand that it's very difficult to get a proper Italian entertainment, but we certainly do put our best foot forward when we try. It's a very good committee, and I'm very proud of them to represent them. So if you need to reach me this month, I'm at 954-998-4186 or joycarter@coralsprings.org. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
The only thing I want to talk about is, it's already talked about, but Coral Springs Fire Department Cancer Awareness Pasta Dinner is Saturday, October 28th from 4:30 to 8:30 at Station 80, which is the fire station on Coral Springs Drive next to the police station. It's open to all the public. The food is great, and the service is great, and it's a great cause. So welcome, everybody. Mr. Goodrum.
Mayor, I believe it is the 27th, just for anybody watching at home for that event on a Saturday, and I have no report.
Okay, somebody put it in the paper wrong. I'm reading it from here. So it's that Saturday. It's either the 27th or 28th. Mr. Hearn.
Thank you, Mayor. I have on the agenda, it's that time of year again, for the annual review of your city attorney. I would just briefly note there's a few pages of what we worked on and the accomplishments. Just very briefly, we had a lot of unique events this year. As you know, we followed up on Hurricane Irma that came in. We moved into a new building with the legal issues there. Of course, the tragic events of Douglas, the laws that came out of there, we're doing the risk protection orders. The communications facility ordinance became a model ordinance for the state. This work was all done by my attorneys and my staff there with the help of the city manager and the director. So it was a good year for us. We were under budget. Mayor, with your help as well, the communications facilities ordinance we did in-house instead, and we saved over $50,000 doing that as well. So it's just an opportunity for you guys to provide a review.
Okay, Commissioner Daly, you're going to be recognized first if you want to say something.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to point out the enormous amount, and obviously for certain matters, we still have to farm out some work to outside counsel and whatnot, but the value that our city attorney, the city attorney's office, which obviously is led by the city attorney, and that's why I'm putting the two together, because leadership starts at the top, and I think they have a strong leader who has not only come in year after year under budget, but has done so while providing excellent representation in so many different forms and fashions, and saved the residents of the city of Coral Springs probably millions over the last however many years, John, in terms of legal expenses that normally would have been paid out in days past. So, John, although we don't always agree on football, I really commend you for always being there and being available on a moment's notice, actually, for not just me, but any of the elected officials and city staff when necessary. So it really goes a long way, and I just want to ask you to keep up the good work.
Commissioner Vignola.
I just want to go over a few other things that John's office did, and your office, not just you, but your office, does an amazing job year in and year out, and it's a huge benefit for not only the other employees in the city, but for us directly. You worked with the police and fire departments, with the FDLE investigation, with the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas tragedy, all the public records requests related to that, drafted a new recycling agreement, implemented numerous forfeiture proceedings, resulting in almost $700,000 for the city of Coral Springs, handled labor matters, and there was a few of those this year, handled and issued any and all ethics opinions to make sure everyone's on the up and up, and make sure, we sometimes with certain things where we might have a question, we call over the city attorney's office and they'll handle and issue an ethics opinion, so that way nobody gets in trouble. And you updated the city's sign regulations to be in accordance with the federal law, if this body ever were to approve it. But I do appreciate all the things that you and your staff have done, and I would go ahead and make a motion to
Well, before you make a motion, let's let everybody speak first.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. John, you're in trouble now. All kidding aside, for the last 3 years, working with you. It has been an absolute honor. I'll repeat what Larry said, you keep us out of trouble, you guide us, you let us know what happened, what's right, what's wrong, and I don't know, even if you were to leave, how do we replace you? So
I
don't
got
go
good people
anywhere.
that could do it.
You have my support 100%.
Commissioner Carter.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. John, it's already been stated by all the commissioners that leadership starts at the top, and you do a stellar job of leading your team and saving the residents money and keeping us out of trouble. Thank you. I really enjoy working with you.
I'm just going to, a lot of people don't know this, but we're having some problems with sober houses in Coral Springs. And John and his staff has been working with me and a number of our legislators to try to do some legislation. And we have met with most of the senators, most of the state representatives, and without their help, we would not even be going in the right direction. That's taken a lot of time, a lot of energy, and he doesn't ask for any type of applause. We're just doing it together. So he would fall within one of four classifications, and then I'll take a motion. He would fall, one, either below expectations, two, meets expectations, three, above expectations, and four, substantially exceeds expectations. And I will entertain a motion at this point.
I'll move.
Well, Commissioner Vignola moved first, so I'm going to give him the opportunity.
I believe there's another category in here.
Mayor, if I could, this is under my contract, and the amounts for those numbers really exceed or higher than what the employees get now. So I've requested that if you so choose, for example, for exceeds expectations, which is the current ranking, that I would get no more than the top of the exceeds expectation for regular employees.
All right, so what's the other one, Commissioner Vignola?
I would move that we rate him that he substantially exceeded expectations this year, with the caveat that he would be capping his pay at the level that he stated.
I agree.
All right, it's been moved by Commissioner Vignola, seconded by Commissioner Carter. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And I was going to say something else when I was making the motion afterwards. When you went to everyone else, so I can have another minute, please.
You can have another minute. But remember, he has to go to physical therapy.
It's fine, but I just want to say, John, on top of all the work and stuff you do, you're an excellent representative for the city of Coral Springs throughout the community, you and your family. And that does go a long way, and it helps build trust into this organization. So thank you for everything they do, both here and outside of here for the city. Thank you.
Thank you. And I didn't mention before the review because it would look terrible, but I want to thank I couldn't do it without the commission's support either. I didn't want to mention it until I had my review, so thank you very much.
All right, then that motion was made that he substantially exceeds expectations. All in favor? Aye. Passes unanimously. There is no further business, so this meeting is adjourned.